Welcome back to episode 4 of my Tesla Robotaxi video series. Here we're going to be leaving the Stacy Neighborhood Pool and then head towards Austin American-Statesman, which is a business kind of office building setting right by the river. Um, Kind of right off the bat here as we start the ride, you'll notice that the car kind of parked a little close to this dumpster in front. So it did pause just for a brief second here, it seems like, as it's navigating out of the parking spot, but it clears it just fine and then continues on its way like nobody's business. So I don't really see an issue there. Otherwise, I would say maybe if it parked in that spot again in the future, maybe just give it a few more feet just to be more confident next time. But otherwise, no issues there. It was very close to the pin that I had dropped for the location, so I didn't have to walk any distance really to get in the car. Nothing like that. So this is the first busy street that we are turning onto along this route, and right off the bat, I thought the car hesitated a bit too much. However, then I realized as after we traversed it, there was a big speed bump there, so it was actually gradually accelerating for that speed bump. So it wasn't gonna, make us uncomfortable in the cabin, which I appreciate. And just in general, I'm surprised by how many speed bumps there are around Austin, especially the residential neighborhoods. From a safety perspective, I'm sure it's the right move, just something that we don't really see a lot of back home in Minneapolis. So just a difference I wanted to call out. Over the next minute or two, you're going to see a lot more speed bumps, and the car every single time picks them up, slows down nicely for them ahead of time, traverses them at a comfortable speed, and then smoothly accelerates afterwards. You'll see that time and time again. Again, after we're 31 rides with Robotaxi overall, I have yet to see it miss a speed bump or take too much speed going over. We have a crosswalk that has the active lights on, as if there's somebody in the crosswalk. However, as you can see, there are no pedestrians in the crosswalk. So the car still pauses, and when it sees it's clear to go, it proceeds, which is exactly what it should be doing. Here, after we make this lane change here, there's actually a guy on a scooter right off the bike lane, which is adjacent to our lane. And at no point in time do you see the car suddenly hit the brakes or make, any jerky movements on the wheel. Extremely confident. I do not see that same behavior, and I've noticed it numerous times in Waymos where you'll get kind of that phantom braking like feel where it's kind of going from brake to throttle when it's unsure being around pedestrians. I don't see that same behavior with Tesla Robotaxi. My guess is Tesla's approach it does a better job predicting those next movements, and that's how they're able to generate more confident inputs to the vehicle. But just my guess. So of all the intersections along this route, this is by far the busiest one, and that obviously presents some challenges due to the way it's laid out. The intersecting lane's kind of at an angle, so to see traffic to our left, unfortunately, we're kind of impeded, or the vision is included by those vehicles. So we have to kind of pop out a little bit, but we don't obviously want to block the crosswalk. So very tricky situation for Robotaxi to handle here, it seems, but the car does a great job of making sure those pedestrians, there's actually a large group of people here up to the right. You can see the car just moved ahead a little bit here to get a better view, but then it waits because then it sees that the pedestrians are now crossing the intersecting lane. So the car will wait in this spot, and it does have to wait another light cycle. This wasn't a very long light cycle to begin with, so we do wait here for a little bit, but I don't think I would have done anything differently as a human driver in the situation. So as soon as that car completes its turn, you can see the Robotaxi now say, all right, it's going to be clear for me to go here. I'm going to have a window. And it doesn't mess around. It starts inching forward here. You'll see the input on the wheel right there. And it gets a better view to get beyond that adjacent car. And then it proceeds forward with the turn. And again, does a great job of staying in its lane lines and completing the maneuver safely. So good job again, Tesla, on that. That was a very tricky situation. I would have definitely expected Waymo from my history to be way more jerky with the inputs. Um, and Tesla was smooth throughout. This parking lot has kind of an interesting entrance. It kind of winds a little bit, and as you kind of come around the bend here, you'll see there's a pedestrian right to our right, kind of covered by the trees and not super visible. The car does a great job of spotting them, navigating around them to complete this left turn. At which point, then the car will kind of go down this part of the parking lot and take us right to the front door. So I expected this to cause some more problems for FSD, just considering the time of day and kind of how this parking lot is set up. But we didn't really see any issues along this route, especially in this parking lot, which that was pretty cool. And even though this business was closed on Saturday, it still dropped us off right at the front door as we had requested. So that was great. The pickup location where we get picked up at the spot does become fun in the next ride, but you're going to have to wait and see what happens for that one. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.